Baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Tonight at Kauffman Stadium, it is the final and deciding game of a three-game series between the Royals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Joel Goldberg and Jeff Montgomery are coming up. You know the Royals bullpen is special. The goal this year was to get to the 7th inning. That has been adjusted to get the game to the 6th inning with an addition like Ryan Madson. But last night, all the Royals had to do was get it to the 2nd inning.
Showing the talent that Ned Yost has in that bullpen last night, it was on full display with everyone. And did they answer? They shut down one of the best teams in the National League last night. And you know what? Very unfortunate for Vargas and the Royals to lose a quality lefty. Blanton hadn't pitched in a couple of years before his Royals uniform was put on. Madson, same kind of thing. Madson was out a couple of years. These guys are all answering the call. Herrera, we know what he is. He's a beast. He's a closer in the making. Check, please.
Wade Davis setting up Greg Holland, who ended up with the save, even though there was some drama in the 9th. And then after the game, Jason Vargas wanted to talk about the team rather than himself.
You know, the beautiful thing about this team is they seem to respond to adversity, no matter what it is. And, you know, we came out there and Joe shut that inning down. And we were able to respond in the 8th and put some damage on a really good pitcher.
And I'm sure that Jason Vargas knew when he was talking there that it was a serious elbow injury. We didn't know the extent of it until today, and yet that was a very unselfish way to address last night's game.
It was. Tells you about the pro he really is. And yes, they do respond to adversity, and it's going to be exciting to see them the rest of the way. However, we'll miss Vargas. This was too bad. This was a very tough situation for the veteran left-hander, but hopefully we'll see him back in the Royals uniform in a year or so.
University of Kansas hospital injury report. That's the bad news. The torn UCL. That requires ligament transplant surgery, Tommy John surgery. The Royals will have to bounce back tonight. They have Edison Volquez on the mound. He had a great year for the Pirates last year. Tonight he pitches against the Pirates.
Flashes back to 1 year ago today in Chicago. Mike Moustakas homer not once but twice. That was when they had their players-only meeting led by Raul Ibanez. They had been struggling out of the All-Star break, and since that date, including that date, the Royals 97-59, best record in baseball. That doesn't even include their success in the playoffs. Welcome back to Kauffman Stadium, where it is a sellout. Monty, how about that? 3 sellouts on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Life is good here in Kansas City. And now they turn the ball over to Edinson Volquez against his former team. What has he meant to his current team?
Well, he's a guy that's really been a stabilizing factor in the rotation. I call him Steady Eddie, a guy that's going to go out there and keep you in a game. And he's won a lot of games. I think pitching against his old team, it's going to be a nice thing for him to go back out. A little bit of a reunion of the sort for him.
Well, it is the series finale, the rubber game between Edinson Volquez's Royals and the Pirates before the Royals head for a quick 1 to St. Louis. First pitch coming up next.
Kansas City Chevy dealers. Visit your local dealer today for great prices on all new 2015 vehicles. And by the Missouri Lottery, every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. So another sellout crowd is expected. They are still lined up on I-70 just to get off the highway and get into the ballpark. This is the deciding game of the series. St. Louis won last night, so Clint Hurdle's team dropped a game in the National League Central. They are 5 games back. And in game 1, we saw what the Pirates are capable of offensively with 10 runs on 17 hits. But then last night, Royals pitching held the Pirates to just 1 run on 8 hits. They'll be facing a very familiar face, Edinson Volquez, who pitched for the Pirates last year and pitched very well for them. After the All-Star break, he was very good. His overall ERA for Pittsburgh was 3.04, but after the All-Star break, 2.20, and he started the wild card game for Pittsburgh in a loss to San Francisco.
Like to hear about strong finishers. It's exactly what makes a true veteran player finish strong and a mark of a big league player, man. Especially Volquez. Good fastball. Going to average about 93 on that fastball. He's got a really good 2-seamer, curveball, and a changeup.
Fouled away by Gregory Blanco. No balls, 2 strikes.
Good reputation you get when you finish strong. over the course of a long baseball season.
Polanco is 2 out of 9 in the first 2 games of the series. 3 pitches. It is called a swing by home plate umpire Tony Randazzo. 1 away.
Now Polanco has never faced Volquez before, but there's several of his teammates that have. And pitching against your team that you played for last year certainly does help to know some of those hitters and their tendencies.
Here are the Royals defensively, presented by Ford. Eric Hosmer on his way to his 3rd Gold Glove. Leading the league not in putouts but assists.
Very special. Great hands.
There is no more motivated player on the field tonight than Neil Walker, and he jumps on the first pitch from Volquez and lines the cane in center field. It was his error that really opened the floodgates for the Royals in the bottom of the 8th inning, when the Royals turned a scoreless tie into a 3-0 lead and ended up winning 3-1. So 4 pitches and 2 down. Here's the play we're talking about. Looked like a routine ground ball and out number 2 off the bat of Infante.
Remember how we were talking about who's going to blink first? They did. And that late in the game, where the Royals score most of their runs, that just opened up for the big hit for Dyson. Exciting ball game.
Andrew McCutchen is 2 for 9 in the series. Deep short, backhand Escobar, got him. 6 pitches is all Volquez needs for a 1-2-3 top of the first inning. That is the biggest divisional lead in Major League Baseball. The Royals 6.5 over Minnesota. Royals won. Minnesota lost last night. Minnesota is on the West Coast taking on the Angels. Mike Pelfrey against C.J. Wilson in that game. And the Royals lineup tonight against right-hander Charlie Morton.
Charlie's a big guy. 6'5", 230. Perfect frame for a pitcher, but he's not overpowering. His specialty is a 2-seam sinker. He's a ground ball guy. Likes to get outs on the ground. He'll mix in a nice curve ball, and he's got a split finger changeup type combination that he'll use when runners get in scoring position. But he's going to throw those sinkers. Get him early. Fastball's around 91 on the average. Anything harder, sometimes that sinker straightens out and it's a little bit easier to hit. So less is more for a sinker baller.
And oftentimes a pitcher that relies on movement, that best movement doesn't arrive right away. And the league has gotten to Morton in the first inning. Escobar grounds it out to third. Gung is at third base tonight. One down. And a look at the Pirates defensively. Pedro Florimon, we've seen quite a bit of him with the Minnesota Twins. He was called up from AAA today, so he will be a shortstop as the Pirates continue to fill voids on the left side of their infield. Shortstop Jordy Mercer, third baseman Josh Harrison are both on the disabled list. And the Pirates, at least with Morton on the mound, will shift on Moustakas, who drives it into deep center field, but it's going to be run down by Marte. I don't know if the wind kept that ball from going to the fence or further, but it didn't help Mike Moustakas out. It is unseasonably cool for Kansas City for July the 22nd, and that wind is blowing in from the northeast. So Moustakas did hit it into a breeze of about 8 miles per hour.
McCutchen, their star center fielder, is DHing. Another thing about Charlie Morton is that he's a strike thrower. He throws a lot of strikes. That's good for the Royals. They like to swing in a lot of pitches. Only has 19 walks and 58 innings pitched. So he's going to throw strikes for the most part. Come right after you.
He is making just his 11th start of the year. He started the season on the disabled list. There's a very good curveball. Charlie Morton had hip surgery at the end of last year. He has been on the disabled list 8 different times in his career. Left center field. That will get by the left fielder Decker. Extra bases for Kane. He'll stop at second base with a 2-out double.
22nd double on the year for Lorenzo Cain, who split the gap perfectly. And this is this kind of swing you want. Look at the arm angle. He's down low. See how he turns it over? That's the sinker, but you got to go down and lift it and get that bat head on it and get a little lift. And that's how you keep it from hitting on the ground and rolling your hands over. Got to go right down and be able to lift that sinker and find that outfield grass. Trevor turf.
And now left-hand hitting Eric Hosmer. And I say left-hand hitting, you know that. However, left-hand batters have a huge advantage against Charlie Morton, and we've already seen Mike Moustakas line out to just short of the warning track in center field in this inning. In for a strike, 1-1. Morton's been a little better this year against lefties, but over his career there's about a 50-point difference, 43 points to be exact, between righties and lefties. And that got Hosmer on the foot. Dead ball. The crowd excited, thinking that Kane advances to third. He'll go back to second base.
This is the second time Haas has been hit this year. Some of his teammates have been hit a lot more. But you like to see Lorenzo Cain not assuming anything, looking to advance on the ball in the dirt. Now, it just barely clipped Haas, but you can't tell Lorenzo Cain that. Lorenzo Cain is on high alert, ready to advance. Royals at .278 hitting team with runners in scoring position, and one of their best is at the plate right now. Morales hitting .330 with a runner at second base and beyond.
The American League's league leader in RBI, and Morales has 3 in this series. Fastball at 93, no balls, 1 strike. Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. Not just driving in runs, but driving in quite a few runs with 2 outs. So he is first in the league in total RBIs, first in the major leagues with 2 outs. Right field, well hit, not quite enough. Polanco runs it down on the warning track. So 2 left-hand batters make bids for home runs against Morton in what was a loud but scoreless bottom of the first. Your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag KCDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Once again, that's hashtag KCDataStrongFan. So here we go to the top of the second inning, which has been an eventful half inning for the Royals in this series. In game 1 on Monday, Yordano Ventura looked like he was going to throw a perfect game after his 1-2-3 top of the first, and then the Pirates tagged him for 4 runs in the second inning, and the Royals played catch up the rest of the game. And then last night, Jason Vargas coming back from the disabled list. Fastball looked good, changeup looked outstanding. He got the Pirates 1-2-3 and then blew out his elbow in the top of the second inning.
Well, I think we are hopeful that we won't see anything like that out of Steady Eddie here in the second. But yeah, very eventful first couple of games. It's too bad that the Royals going to lose Vargas. But you just saw Ventura. He's back on the bench and back on the roster to get another start.
And I know there are fans scratching their head now and saying, well, wait a minute. I thought they wanted to send him down to the minor leagues and get his mechanics right, get his approach right. So what happened to that plan? Well, if you go back and hear Ned Yo's comments yesterday before the game, that was about 50% of the plan. The other 50% was, with a pitcher coming off the disabled list like Jason Vargas was last night, you never know what's going to happen, and you need to have some protection in the bullpen for a long reliever. And so, yes, Ventura went down to work on some things, but they also had the option of sending him down and keeping a long reliever available. And who would have known that that was going to be as important as it was? Marte, one hop to Kane in center field. So the move for Ventura, it wasn't all about him going down to AAA. That was just part of the reason.
Yeah, manager, he's responsible for all his guys, and he's got to be able to cover himself. You know, if something happens to a starter in the first inning, he's got to have a long guy that can fill in some innings there. So it wasn't all about Ventura's performance, although we've seen better out of Ventura. But if you look at it and all the hits he gave up, they were hard ground balls that found holes. If they find the defense, we know what's going to happen. Those are turned into outs. So really, he didn't pitch that badly. Problem with Ventura.
Sharply hit into center field by Jung Ho Kang. He has a 9-game hitting streak, and the Pirates have 2 on with nobody out.
He impresses me. Anything over that zone, he's going to put it in play hard. Anyway, Ventura, the problem that he was having was giving up hits with runners in scoring position. So glad to see him get another chance here. You never know in baseball. But Kang been staying in the large part of the field for the most of his hits here in this series, but he's showing a little bit of power, a little bit of pull power as well. Volquez has induced 10 ground ball double plays this season. He'd like to have his 11th right here. Calling for Salvador Perez.
Here's what we were talking about on Monday night, inning number 2. And Ventura, I mean, he was nasty in the first inning.
You know, that first hit was 2 inches off the plate. That was down the middle. That one's off the plate, but it was elevated. There it was in the middle with the runner on. Another one in the middle at 97. The velocity's good, but you know, it gets hit up here in the big leagues. So executing pitches for Ventura with runners in scoring position is the key. And it's the key for every starter. You know, how can you keep your opponent from scoring when they get in scoring position? Sometimes they'll make or break you.
Low to Travis Ishikawa, who was 1 for 18 as a major leaguer with the Giants and the Pirates combined coming into Monday night. And he ended up with 3 extra base hits, a home run, and 4 RBIs. And then as a pinch hitter last night, he drove in another run. Good changeup for a strike. 1-1. Hit one of the biggest home runs in postseason history last year for the San Francisco Giants. A walk-off home run in Game 5 against Michael Wacha and the Cardinals, sending the Giants into the World Series and sending the Cardinals home. Check swing, and that's a strike. 1-2.
Yep, Volquez doing what he can do best, and that's execute with a runner in scoring position. We were just talking about that with Ventura. Volquez is 3rd in the American League in the opponent's batting average with a 192 average with runners in scoring position. He's been really good keeping his opponents off the board when they get out there. Executing pitches down in the zone. Using the defense. Pitching to contact.
Into the Pirates dugout.
Ishikawa, the previous in that Game 1 we were so hot, showed a good level swing, and he kept his bat head in the zone a long time, and that allows him to go to the opposite field with some authority.
Strike 3 right over the inside at 96. Second strikeout for Volquez.
That sneaky two-seamer, and that's not exactly sneaky, but you could see when he released it, the hitter saw it's going to be a ball. But through that movement, got back over the plate. Excellent pitch.
Now Chris Stewart, Pirates' normal backup catcher, but he has started 2 games of the series. Francisco Cervelli injured his right wrist in Game 1, and Stewart has hit in 9 straight. High strike, 0-1.
Stewart's grounded into a couple of double plays this season. That's what Volquez would like. Save that pitch count.
He only needed 6 pitches to get to the Pirates in the first inning. Sal didn't quite get the grip that he wanted. Thought about trying to pick off Gung at first base.
If you're the base coaches and you're the opponents of the Royals against the Royals, you've got to really remind your runners that Salvador Perez, he'll throw. Now it's interesting to watch the catcher, but the base coaches have to watch the fielders, and they can see him creeping in behind.
Here's the ground ball. And there is the double play. So a good start for Pittsburgh. They had 2 on and nobody out. And Volquez hangs another 0 on the board.
Roll them up.
In St. Louis tomorrow for a makeup game, and then back here on Friday for a 3-game series with the Astros, beginning with Buck Night and Fireworks Friday. Stock up on dollar hot dogs and peanuts for $1, presented by Visit KC, and then a fireworks spectacular after the game, courtesy of Hy-Vee and Pepsi. Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Royals really swung the bats well against Charlie Morton in the first inning. They came up empty, but some hard hits, some hard hit outs. Hendrys Morales came very close to hitting a 3-run home run, but flied to the warning track to end the first inning. 2-0 to Salvador Perez. He'll be followed by Omar Infante and Alex Rios. Two and one.
And like most sinker ball pitchers, they usually work with a quick tempo because they know that they want to keep the infielders on their toes. They don't want to take too much time in between innings, in between pitches, so they can keep their guys sharp, ready for the next ball.
It is not unprecedented for a catcher to be a leadoff hitter. In fact, there's one in the ballpark here, Jason Kendall, who played for the Pirates and the Royals. Had a very high on base percentage. I don't think Salvi will ever do that, but he is usually at his best leading off an inning. He's a .339 hitter when he leads off an inning. There's Jason, longtime Pirate, several-year All-Star. Slow roller to third. Gung with the short hop. Not this time. Sal is out number 1 in the second inning.
The mindset of an infielder when you're playing behind a guy like Morton is when you come to the ballpark, you know right away, all right, I'm going to get some action, especially when you're facing a lot of righties lefties, either way, they're going to be rolling those balls over because the ball has such good sink to it that you hit the top of the ball. So the guys know what they're ready for some action.
Strike at the knees to Omar Infante, who has hit in 5 straight, and he was in the middle of that 3-run 8th inning. Now he reached base because of a gift, because of the error by Walker, but then it was his base running that set up runners at second and third. Ooh, there's that big curve. Infante takes strike 3, and that is Charlie Morton's first strikeout.
There's a term for that curveball, Uncle Charlie, and that's exactly what that was. What a nice one. So he's not going to throw that a lot, but he'll use it when he's got 2 strikes on a batter or a runner in scoring position. It's extremely effective after the sinker.
That's got some. I'm not saying it's as good, but it's kind of got that Burt Blyleven kind of break to it.
Sure does. They say Burt's curveball was one of the biggest and sharpest breakers of all time. It's a great compliment to Burt. Of course, he's a Hall of Famer. I know Mike Boddicker, he had a big curveball. I mean, it started at your head, over your head, and it just gave me fits. I was a rookie, and I swung at everything. I couldn't figure it out. It's about a 4-foot breaker. He just teased me with it. Throw it every time. Couldn't hit it.
One and 2 on Rios, who continues to heat up at the plate. Last 10 games coinciding with Alex Gordon's injury, Rios is hitting .400 with an OPS of over 1,000 and 9 runs scored in those 10 games, including 1 last night.
That's a welcome sight to see those numbers.
Curve off the end of the bat, and Ishikawa will take it himself. 3 up and 3 down. No score at the end of 2.
We talked quite a bit with him yesterday about Yordano Ventura going to AAA. Yordano is back, but Eddie, who's one of the nicest guys you could talk to, very laid back and relaxed, was talking to me, and he gave me a little bit of insight in maybe what he was like as a young player, because he said that back guys in 2007 with the Rangers, Texas sent him back to the minors, not to AAA, but all the way to High A Bakersfield. And he said they implemented all of these different rules for him, so he must have been a rule breaker. He said he had to be in the first one in the clubhouse every day, the first one on the bus, had to make sure the pant legs were a certain length, make sure you're showing the belt, make sure that you're the first one on the field, and all this kind of stuff. And if he broke any of those rules, he was dealing with fines. He'd have more starts. He said he started 0-4. I looked it up. It's true. 0-4 in high A, and then they told him, okay, you're going to go up to double A. And he said, no, I want to stay. I want to win a game. Well, they moved him up to double A, then to triple A. By the next year, 2008, he was a 17-game winner for the Cincinnati Reds.
So Ventura can use that for inspiration, although he never really went down. The question today was that enough of a shock to the system, just knowing that the Royals would send him down to the minor leagues?
You have to have the ability, and you've got to be able to perform. But opportunity is one of the biggest things. Sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it just doesn't work out. You got to persevere until you find the right opportunity. But ability and performance is what this game's based around. And that guy Ventura, he's got all that. So does Paulo Orlando, by the way, sitting next to him.
Jeff Decker walks, and now Pedro Florimon. Just called up from AAA, where he was hitting .254. Bunting, Hosmer makes a diving play.
There's not a Royal player out there that's not afraid to get their uniform dirty, especially a little Trevor turf on him. Haas don't get a chance to get grass stains on him much, and he can't wait to get that opportunity there. Rios.
Now the top of the order, and Gregory Blanco struck out on 3 pitches. The first 3 pitches thrown by Volquez tonight. Volquez ended up getting him with a curveball. Speaking of Rios, that ball sails over his head and up against the wall. Decker is to third. He's going to be held there as Blanco doubles. Well, Volquez got around first and second and nobody out in the second inning. Now he'll have to work around second and third and 1 out in the third.
Two-seamer out over the middle, a little bit caught the inner part of the plate, but a good swing. It looks like he was waiting for it. Nice and fluid. Long legs, long arms, you get extended, that ball's going to jump.
See the guy you compared to Vladimir Guerrero the other night?
Yeah, you know, he's just got that look. Strong,
lanky,
long, yeah, very strong in the hips.
And now the Royals have the left side of the infield in. The right side of the infield is back, and now the left side backs up a couple of steps for Walker. Pick off play third base. Decker is back in time.
Throws a little bit more closer to the base, they might have gotten it.
Walker lined out to Kane in the first inning. One ball, one strike. Neil Walker, born to be a Pirate, grew up in Pittsburgh's northern suburbs. Huge Pirates fan. Fan favorite for obvious reasons back in Pittsburgh. Probably didn't feel that way last night as he went back to the team hotel. Now Volquez ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That error he made last night wasn't his first error he's ever made, and it won't be his last. He's able to turn the page quickly. Garrett Cole, when Clint Hurdle came to take him out, I watched him. He patted every infielder on the chest before he left. It's a tough game for Garrett Cole, but he'll bounce back.
Salvador Perez setting up inside. Got him to start to swing, but able to check in time. 2-2 on Walker.
Excellent block. You almost come to expect that automatically for Salvador Perez, but he's very passionate, and he works on that, not just in game. Pedro Grifol, the hitting coach, takes him out to the bullpen certain games and will throw balls in the dirt to him. Work. To be the best, you got to work.
Full count. Andrew McCutchen is on deck. Decker walked. Hosmer made a diving play on a bunt by Florimon, and then Polanco doubled. Want to make sure they're on the same page, so Sal and Volquez will talk it over.
And Eddie Volquez, he knows he's got a good average against runners in scoring position for his opponents at 192, and he's going to do all he can to try to find a way to pop him up or get a strikeout here. He's got strikeout ability and strikeout pitches.
Still 3-2.
Stayed off speed, got Walker off balance. Reason the infield's back is it's early in the game. Want to give those infielders a chance to get to any ball that might get by one or two of them, at least give them more range.
Walker hit the ball hard against Volquez in the first inning. He lined to center. However, he is just 2 for 15 against Volquez. Now going to try and go down and away. Out to center field again. Kane getting behind it. Decker's not a great runner, and Kane will play it to third. So Walker comes through with his 37th RBI, and Pittsburgh leads 1-0. And now McCutchen grounded out to short in the first inning. Breaking ball for a strike. One and one on McCutchen. getting half the night off as the DH. He has Polanco at second base. You know, when interleague play started, I thought the National League would have a big advantage because they know how to hit with the pitcher. And when they go to the American League, Andrew McCutchen can get half the day off. He can't do that in the National League. Clint Hurdle gets to put another bat in the lineup. His pitcher doesn't have to hit. So in theory, it would appear that the National League would have the advantage, but it hasn't worked out that way. The American League has dominated interleague play since its inception in 1997.
And especially all-star games.
Fights off another pitch, still 1-2.
McCutchen's a battler. You can tell. 377 average with the runner in scoring position. He's going to do all he can to get it in. He's not just a one-dimensional pull type hitter either. You can see with his bat speed and how short his swing is that he's just looking to put that ball in play and find a hole.
Volquez strikes him out. So all in all, not that bad. Pittsburgh had runners at second and third with one out. They get one run on the sac fly, and Volquez finishes off the inning, striking out the Pirates' best hitter. Champion. Mariah is complimented by her coaches and competitors for her exceptional ability to encourage her teammates and competitors. Successful in the classroom as well. The Blue Springs graduate was the president of the National Honor Society. Mariah served as a representative on a youth advisory council for Eastern Jackson County and a tutor for elementary and middle school students, sitting in the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat at tonight's game.
Another young leader. Here you go, Mariah.
Gerard Dyson. Put the Royals in front with a two-run single to score Infante and Rios, and then he scored the third run after a stolen base. Florimon charges. Dyson slides. One away.
Haven't seen Dyson go head first into first, but he really wanted that hit. Can be dangerous. Palms got to be up. Palms up, fingers up. Keep him off that base going at that velocity. You catch a finger, you could miss some games.
Several players have already this year around the league. Now Alcides Escobar grounded out to third in the first inning. Royals have very, very little experience against Charlie Morton. He has faced the Royals. That was back in '09. But in the lineup tonight, there are only 2 Royals who have faced him, and they did that with other teams. Escobar 3 at-bats, Infante 3 plate appearances, and that's it. And we showed you that Morton oftentimes will get in trouble in the first inning, and then he really steadies himself second and third times through the order. Morton was originally an Atlanta Braves property. 3rd round pick. He's been around. That was 13 years ago. Traded the Pirates in '09. Mentioned in the first inning, he's been on the disabled list 8 different times with some pretty serious stuff. Florimon handles a tough hop and throws out Escobar. Morton has had right hip surgery, left hip surgery, and Tommy John surgery, among other injuries. Coming up on Saturday, Viva Los Reales. The Royals will don special jerseys for the event, featuring pregame festivities in the outfield experience. Enjoy live music and traditional dancing on the stage, and then put your taste buds to the test at the Salsa Showdown. Although HUD said he will be salsa dancing, he'll have his own showdown out there, but there will also be a, as in chips and salsa showdown, where local Mexican restaurants will try to earn your vote for the title of Best Salsa in KC. That's coming up on Saturday.
Ooh, man, I don't know if I have enough time to get my salsa dance together, but it is salsa the sauce, right? I mean, you know, the salsa.
Yes, it is. Salsa the sauce, the salsa.
The sauce.
Mike Moustakas flied to the warning track, or to the front of the warning track in center field in the first inning against Morton. Curveball makes it 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Morton bringing the curve in a lot more now, second time around. And with that 3/4 arm slot that he's using, that gets more action to the ball down. It's going to go down and away to the left. Although we mentioned that, you know, in his career he's had a tougher time against lefties. Curveball is tough to hit. His changeups hasn't been too easy to hit either.
And the curve down and in gets a strikeout. He has 2 and 3 scoreless innings. Gordon in a Nebraska Husker uniform, and it's Husker night coming up on Saturday, August 8th. It's the Royals and the White Sox. The first 6,000 fans who bring their Huskers night ticket to a designated table inside the ballpark will receive a limited edition red and white KC Royals Huskers cap, courtesy of Fox Sports Kansas City and Rally House. Royals.com/special events for those tickets.
Yeah, Alex, it's too bad he won't be here this year for that, but last year he had a heck of a game. And Goldberg, before the game, asked him if he would give a shout out to the people if he had a good game, and he was on his interview after the game, and sure enough, he came through, kept his word.
Showing bunt and dropping down a perfect bunt. And that's all that Salvador Perez could do. In fact, Salvi made that a lot closer than it should have been.
You don't expect your cleanup hitter to do that, and that was special. That's perfect touch, and with his speed.
And I tell you what, it wasn't much of a secret. He squared around like that was going to be a sacrifice bunt.
And then he made a perfect bunt. Salvi, he bounces like a cat on those, and he gets most runners, but not there. He had it easily.
Now Jung Ho Gung gets a breaking ball this time. Well, it was Marte and Gung starting off the second inning with back-to-back hits. The Pirates had 2 on, nobody out. Volquez was able to wiggle out of that with a strikeout and a double play. Gung's base hit gave him a 9-game hitting streak. 1-1.
Looks like Marte was trying to measure Volquez's delivery up there, and like he wanted to try to take his chance at a steal. He's got 19 on the season, leads the Pirates.
Both teams are third in their league in stolen bases. Pirates have 67 stolen bases. The Royals have 59 stolen bases. Another base hit for Gung. Man, what a series he's had. He is 6 for 10 in this 3-game series.
The scout that told Pittsburgh management that this guy can go from the Korean League as a position player right to the big leagues. Boy, you have to have a lot of confidence in your scouts. And they were right. This guy can hit. And he's not a bad fielder. He can play third, short, or second base. They like his power.
So just like the second inning, the Pirates have 2 on, nobody out. Volquez struck out Ishikawa back in the second. Got him looking at a fastball. Ishikawa drove in 5 runs in the first 2 games of the series. One and one.
What a one-handed grab by a Royals fan in that second deck. Ishikawa, he's got the right approach here to stay out of a double play. He's a good opposite field hitter. We witnessed that in game 1. So he's staying inside the ball with his hands, trying to go that way so he won't roll over to Infante or Hosmer on that right side.
Good breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ishikawa, we told you in game 1, was so frustrated at one point last year that he thought about quitting, and then became one of the biggest postseason heroes in San Francisco/New York Giants history. Game 5 of the National League Championship Series. The Giants up 3-1. That is not just a walk-off home run. That is a let's run into the World Series home run for a guy who thought his career might be over.
Think long and hard before you hang him up. Continue to persevere, and he did. Boy, that gave me goosebumps looking at that.
And the Giants in the World Series with the Royals, they were without one of their best players, Angel Pagan. And so Ishikawa, who's normally a first baseman, remember, he played quite a bit of left field. Had to piece together their outfield to get to the World Series. And Volquez strikes him out again.
Well, maybe it's the same results as the second inning when he struck out Ishikawa, and then he got Chris Stewart to ground into a little 4-6-3 double play. Maybe that can happen here again. Volquez had all of his pitches moved down. That was his 11th ground ball double play induced.
And now Chris Stewart, who is built more like a shortstop or a third baseman than he is a catcher. Kind of got that tall, lanky frame. When he walks into a room, are you thinking catcher when you see his body style, body type?
Not at all. Matter of fact, game 1, I saw him down the field there run out to BP, and he looked at me as he went by, and I knew him when his days with the Yankees, and he waved to me. And I go, wow, I know that face, and I looked at him and I'm thinking, who is that? I wonder, you know, he's certainly not a catcher.
He's bounced around in with the White Sox, the Rangers, the Yankees, the Padres, the Giants, back to the Yankees, and this is his second year with the Pirates. Good pitch at the knees with movement.
Boy, that's beautiful. That's a perfect spot.
Hard breaking ball makes it 0-2.
Yeah, beautiful changeup.
There's a great story I read years ago about Chris Stewart, and I wanted to ask him in person. I finally got to yesterday. He was once a shortstop, high school shortstop, and you talk about falling into a position. The starting catcher left the team to join the cheerleaders. True story. Backup catcher had appendicitis, and suddenly his team was without a catcher, and his coach came to him and said, how would you like to catch? And he said, absolutely not. And the coach said, well, you're going to catch anyway. And that's how he became a catcher, because of one guy joining the cheerleading squad and another guy having an appendicitis. And Stewart told me that the buddy who had the appendectomy is still a friend of his, and says that Stewart owes half of his career to him. He never would have been a catcher. Dyson into left center field, runs it down. Volquez gets some help from his defense. Well, number 4 isn't out there, but this is Kansas City, and that is left field. And we remind you to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Every single night we're seeing something from one of these outfielders and infielders, and last night was our center fielder, Lorenzo Cain. Rarely misjudges a ball. That one was hit a little harder than he thought, but look at that, just picks it off and heaves it. not wasting any time with a crow hop. Gets to Escobar with that strong arm. And he says, we got him again.
Life is good as a Royal these days. Isn't that what that smile was summing up?
It said a lot of things. Volquez again showing what he's made of, executing his best pitches when he needs to with runners in scoring position. Last 4 games, the opposition's is 2 for 23 with runners in scoring position.
Hit hard to center field, and there's Kane. So Volquez got a strikeout and a double play in the second. In this inning, he got some help from Dyson and Kane. Baseball is brought to you by Panera Bread. Avoid the lines. Order online with rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. By Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Jeep. Find your summer of adventure with great deals at the Jeep Summer Clearance event. Our congratulations to our good buddy Bob Dussman, broadcast level usher, really the director of broadcast level security. He's positioned right outside our broadcast booth next to the elevator, and honored as one of the employees of the month.
Congratulations, Bob. Way to go, buddy. Got to keep us safe.
And can eat more ribs than any human being I've ever seen in my life.
And he's quite the fisherman.
2-1 to Kane.
Whoa. Wow.
Now, that took a little bit of time.
That's professionally done.
Florimon. And Ishikawa helps him out by pulling it out of the dirt. So Kane 1 for 2 after a first inning double.
Formo, nice pick coming in, charging, just barely got him. Stayed on top with his throw. Ishikawa with a nice dig.
And now Eric Hosmer. Hosmer was hit on the foot in the first inning. And the Pirates lead the National League in hit batters. And there's down and in again. It's interesting talking to them about that. most of the time the batter is hit from the waist down, but they really believe in pitching down and in, making the hitters move their feet, and oftentimes they're going to hit batters. So it's not like they're a trouble-making headhunter type team. Although they found themselves last year in a position that the Royals were this year. You know, they got to the playoffs after 20 consecutive losing seasons. They were the darlings of Major League Baseball. And last year, just like the Royals this year, they were bullied by some teams. My goodness. Deep into the right field bleachers. Eric Hosmer hits his 9th home run of the year to tie the game at 1.
Oh my, that was a no-doubter there. That's what you call swung on, gone that quick. Pulled it, or else that would have been a hydration station shot into the fountains, and that was a no-doubter. That ball, that two-seamer, it drifted back over the plate, and Haas let it be known, and it was loud. Tie game.
That breaks a streak of 101 at-bats without a home run for Hosmer, going back to June the 19th.
Oh, he's probably saying that felt good. Nice to be able to knot this game up.
Measured at 432 feet.
Let's take a little side swing angle at Hosmer. This is a perfect swing, folks. Look at him load and down. He's not charging forward, but that head position is really nice, and he's able to make the contact out in front to turn it on and use those hips for power. That ball's slicing.
And it'll be down off the bat of Kendrys Morales. Well, remember we told you in the first inning, left-hand batters give Morton as bad a time as any pitcher in the major leagues. There were some long, loud outs in the first by left-hand hitters, including one by Morales, and now he's at second base with a one-out double.
How many times have we watched this Royals team feed off of one another, and there it was. The sinker's not down, not sinking. It'll sink somewhere in that outfield, and that was just the base of the wall. And it's interesting how well he stayed inside with his hands, and that ball had spin that was taking it towards the left center field. There's no way the center fielder could have caught that ball there. Starling Marte, even with his speed, that ball was tailing away from him. Morales, 24th double, leads the Royals.
Salvador Perez looked like he was taking all the way. He grounded out to third in the second inning.
Second time through, Morton's been throwing first pitch curveballs. How about a second pitch one? You know, you talked about Salvi leading off an inning, how good he's been in his numbers. He's not too shabby knocking them in either. 291 average with a runner in scoring position. Good take.
It's a pitch he usually swings at.
2 curves in a row. You're right.
Those fans back there figure they're not going to get a home run ball, but that's about where Eric Hosmer's home run landed. Hit the stairs and bounced over him, and then went with a curveball again, and Salvi looked like he had decided he was going to swing before the pitch was thrown.
Well, Salvi has the reputation of swinging a lot of pitches, and so Morton, I'm sure, and Stewart were saying, well, he didn't swing at the first one. Let's see if he throws it again. Second pitch, curve, didn't swing at that, and they got him on the third curve in a row. See if they throw it 4 times.
Polanco in right field makes the play. Morales will stay at second base. 2 down. Vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com, and you'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House.
The hit speed off of the bat, 113 miles per hour on Hosmer's 9th homer. Wow.
So it came in at 92. It left at 113.
Ooh, you can't get any better solid contact than that.
Omar Infante was buckled by a Morton curveball in the second inning. Got him looking. Down and away, ball one.
Sometimes a hitter will turn his front foot in just to kind of make sure that it's a reminder to keep his shoulder closed, especially off that curveball. And Infante is one of those guys. I watch his front foot. He turns it in right before he's getting ready to swing. See how he turns it in, almost pigeon-toed like. And that's a reminder sometimes to keep that front side closed.
Tough hop. Gung comes up with it. Throws a little wide, but Ishikawa is there with the stretch to end the inning. Eric Hosmer with an impressive home run to right field to tie the game at 1.
Ooh, clean 113 off the bat.
Our good friend Paul Splittoff, our late great friend and the Royals all-time wins leader. Now, he came up and made his major league debut in September of 1970, but actually he pitched in a game for the Royals on June 8th, 1970 at Municipal Stadium against the Pittsburgh Pirates. In the middle of the year, they called him up to pitch in this one. It was a charity event to raise funds for amateur baseball, and so the Royals played the Pirates, a game that didn't count, but the first ever home run he gave up in Kansas City actually came off the bat in that exhibition game, off of the bat of Roberto Clemente.
No shame in that.
Not at all. For the most part, exhibition games, that's what they are, but you know what, you can't tell players that. They're out there competing.
Pedro Florimon tried to bunt for a base hit in the third inning. He popped it up, and Hosmer went to the infield grass and made a diving play. No swing. Jerry Davis is the third base umpire and crew chief. 2-1 on Florimon, who spent parts of 3 seasons with Minnesota, so we saw quite a bit of him. 2-2. Originally an Oriole, then to Minnesota in 2012.
We watched him with the Twins. He's a spray hitter. You know, he sprays the ball all around. Good shortstop, makes all the plays he should.
Three and two. Pirates Pirates have had the leadoff man on in each of the last 3 innings, but only one has scored. Not this inning. 5 strikeouts for Volquez. 1 away in the 5th inning. Don't forget to own your piece of the 2014 postseason as the Royals and Jostens have teamed up to provide the only officially licensed American League Championship fan collection. Fan rings, necklaces, cufflinks, key rings, and more. And as the storyteller of champions, Jostens has crafted the championship rings of more leagues than any other company. Royals.com/fan rings.
Well, speaking of rings, one of my sons created his own ring earlier today, messing around, out of school, didn't have much to do. He put some kind of a bolt on his finger, just playing around, and comes up to me and says, "Daddy, I can't get this off my finger." I said, "Well, what happened?" He goes, "Oh, I was just playing around, Dad." I go, "Well, man." So it took him all day, and he still couldn't get it. It got swollen around the joint, and I said, "Hey, put a little bit of ice on there, cool it down, we'll see what happens." So my wife, she called around to some of her friends and said, "Why not take him to the fire department?" So guys in Overland Park, Firehouse 43, thank you for saving my son's index finger. Appreciate the service.
Some sort of a bolt?
Well, I'm not sure what it was. It looked like the, you know, in a faucet, the bottom part where the water comes out, you can unscrew that. It looked like something like that, and I wasn't sure exactly what it was, and he didn't know what it was either.
Three and one to Polanco. So how did they cut it off, or did they
so they used,
slide it off?
They used pliers. It took them over an hour. They used pliers, a flathead screwdriver, and finally they found a ring cutter, and it took them an hour to get that thing off. But great job, fellas. Thanks a lot.
Bud, that's your tax money hard at work.
Believe it. And you know, the branch doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say it.
No, that's okay. Thank you, guys.
Infante charges and gets Polanco. 2 down. Oh, there's a throwback look. Remember the We Are Family Pirates?
They do.
1979 champions, and they had those Stargell stars. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a strong team. Parker in right.
Willie Stargell.
Yeah. Omar Moreno in center. John Candelaria, big left-hander.
Burt Blyleven, we were talking about him earlier.
And
Kent Colby.
Manny Sanguine.
Bill Madlock.
Yep. Batting title winner.
And the guy who just got a base hit, Neil Walker, he remembers all those guys. He grew up just outside of Pittsburgh. Yeah, Willie Stargell was far and away the leader of that team, and that Pirates cap that gentleman's wearing in the crowd, it has a series of rings around it, and like a high school football team, you know, they have stickers on the helmet if you make a big play. Willie Stargell, if somebody on the Pirates did something worthy of a Stargell star, he would give it to one of his teammates, and they'd start putting them all around their hat. That Sister Sledge song, We Are Family, became their theme song. Dave Parker was my favorite player when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Cobra. Parker was a large human being.
I was about 9 or 10 years old, and when I saw how big he was, I just decided I was going to be 6'5". Yeah, because Dave was my favorite player, and if he's 6'5", I'm going to be 6'5". Right. So I only missed by 6 inches.
That's okay to dream when you're young. You got to dream large.
The first All-Star game I ever remember was the one, I think it was '79, wasn't it, in the Kingdome, when Dave Parker threw out a guy from the warning track in right field at home plate, threw out another runner at third, and I remember that was it, man. I was just mesmerized by him after that. 0-2 on McCutchen with 2 down. He is struck out and grounded to short against Volquez. Phil Garner.
Scrap iron.
Rennie Stinnett.
Yeah. You got him. We almost named the whole roster.
1-2.
Chuck Tanner.
Manager, yep. High fastball strikes out McCutchen. It's a 6 strikeout performance for Volquez against his former team. And he's allowed just 1 run in the first 5 innings.
Oh, elevated 4-seamer. Looked like that ball was on the rise. Great pitch.
Deals on new Ford cars and trucks. Visit thoroughbredford.com. Ball 1 outside to Alex Rios. Rios grounded out to first in the 2nd inning. He'll be followed by Dyson and Escobar. Pirates got their run on a sac fly in the 3rd inning. Neil Walker driving in Jeff Decker. The Royals got their run in the 4th inning on a home run, a long home run, 432-foot home run from Eric Hosmer in the 4th. Walker was playing up the middle, so not much of an adjustment to get to that ground ball and get Rios. Toyota League leaders for tonight. Remember last year we talked so much about the Royals. Once they got to 4 runs, they were almost unbeatable. Well, this year it's been 3 or more runs. The Royals and the Pirates have the 2 best winning percentages in baseball, scoring 3 or more runs. And now Dyson hit by pitch and hit on the foot. And remember, we were just talking about that last inning. The Pirates add to their league lead in hitting batters, but almost all of the time it's below the waist and sometimes below the knees.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's not a bad idea, especially when a team is starting to get to you and they're feeling comfortable in the box. Dyson looked like he was able to give a little bit with his foot, so his foot wasn't stationary. It could have got him worse, but he'll take his base. And you know, when a team's raking and they're hitting you, you don't want them to be comfortable, so you don't have to throw inside with a fastball. You can throw breaking balls down by their feet, and it makes them move their toe hold, so they're not as comfortable. Another way of moving their feet without actually using that fastball that sometimes will get under the skin of a hitter. You use that pitch.
And true to form, the Pirates have hit 6 Royals in this series. But there's not one that really stands out because nothing dangerous above the waist or around the shoulders.
Yeah, Moose undressed him, took his jersey, didn't even bruise him. Just hit him in the jersey.
Escobar to third. Gung, good backhand play. Pirates turned that into a double play. And Morton with a very quick 5th inning, facing only 3. Surgery on his left elbow after leaving last night in the 2nd inning. 1-1 tie to the top of the 6th as we welcome in Jeff Montgomery and Hud and I at the top of the broadcast were discussing how unselfish Jason Vargas was. I mean, I'm sure he knew it was pretty serious even before he got the MRI, and yet he spent most of the time after the game last night praising the bullpen and the Royals team effort to win that game.
Yeah, it really was a team effort, and that bullpen chipped in a huge way. You don't ever go to the ballpark expecting to need almost 8 innings out of your bullpen, but you know they did, and they did a great job. And you know, from the tone of his voice, you're see a nice little quick out in the top of the 6th, but from the tone of his voice, it seemed like he almost felt like he was going to be okay. I mean, it wasn't any panic, it wasn't anything, but you could tell by his actions after he threw that 2nd pitch there in the 2nd inning that things just were not right. But he's a pro, and that's why guys like him are so valuable. He'll be valuable with his team, even though he's not going to be able to participate for a while, but he's certainly one of those guys that you love to have around.
Remember a few years ago, and the Royals had just a rash of players go down with Tommy John surgery. Remember that? And on one hand, it was a fluky kind of a thing, but on the other hand, with today's technology, and of course Lou Kochaver missed all of last year with Tommy John surgery, very few of those injuries these days are a big surprise. I mean, they have pictures of guys' elbows. They can see if that ligament is starting to break down, or a small tear. Luke Hochevar knew back in 2010. Young strikes out. That is 7 for Edinson Volquez. And Luke Hochevar knew in 2010 that eventually, Danny Duffy knew eventually it was going to go. And so very rarely is it a big surprise when an elbow breaks down like that. And Hochevar said, you know what, it's going to go. I'm going to go 100%. And he was able to pitch quite a while before it did blow out.
And Tim Collins too this spring.
Yeah. Joel and I had a chance to visit with Dr. Vincent Key, the Royals team physician, and he described it as your ligament in your elbow. It's like a tire. There's so much tread there, and eventually it's going to wear out, and eventually it's not going to last any longer. So due to the advances with that procedure, you guys can get back and be just as good as they were prior to.
Monty, Volquez's stuff is awesome. 7 strikeouts. He's missing those bats because he's got really good movement. I think he's taken some velocity off of some of his pitches, is the reason why he's getting so much depth to his off-speed pitches.
He's not trying to overthrow the ball, and that's why he's at 77 pitches here in the 6th inning.
And Fonte throws at Ishikawa. 3 up, 3 down against Volquez. He has retired 9 of the last 10 Pirates. Enter the promo code BRoyal to play free fantasy baseball for free, or daily for free. Mike Moustakas on that list. Probably has something to do with how much Charlie Morton has struggled against left-hand batters this year. We'll see Yadier Molina in St. Louis tomorrow. Moustakas has lined deep to center and struck out. Morton with a fastball in for a strike. How do you get through security with those?
I don't know.
Our Sonic Slam inning contestant is Mike Matthews from Lee Summit. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Mike wins $300. Royals hit a grand slam out of the park. It's worth $25 grand from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. Morton throws out Moustakas. 1 down in the bottom of the 6th, bringing up Lorenzo Cain, and we go to Joel.
Well, Ryan, the Royals had a great event here earlier today out at the Little K. Lorenzo Cain was a part of it as they hosted a baseball fantasy camp for about 40 kids with special needs. They were out there playing Lorenzo Cain was an instructor. Our own Jeff Montgomery, sitting next to you right now, he was out there as an instructor. Mike Moustakas and Drew Butera. As you can imagine, Lorenzo, man, he was out there running. He was flashing that huge smile, signing autographs. I mean, he was out there trying to teach these kids, guys, how to steal bases. And if they couldn't walk and they were in a wheelchair, then he was wheeling them to second base. Incredibly inspirational stuff. A lot of fun. The kids had a blast. One of the kids out there who we see all the time out here at the K, Noah Marker, turned 15 years old today. By the way, he said he's going to take some of our jobs one day. So a happy birthday to him, and a great job by all out there.
Very special. Way to go, fellas. Thanks, Joel. Monty, that's always special when you can go out there. You know, those kids, because they don't have the typical skills that other kids have, but they still love to play the game the same.
It was very rewarding. I had a little spring in my step when I walked away from there.
Nice. Way to go, Monty. Man, that's got that sinker ball working now.
Cain is 1 for 3, now 2 down in the 6th inning. And now Eric Hosmer to the plate. He tied the game in the bottom of the 4th inning with tonight's Dodge drive of the game.
Yeah, that ball's down the middle. It didn't have a lot of sink to it. Morton knew right after Hosmer knew it was out. But of the 3 hits, Morales' pitch was up. Hosmer's was out of that. Duffy like, well, yeah, that ball was way out of here. And Lorenzo Cain's double. There's another double.
Into the corner, fair. Hosmer's been on 3 times. He has 2 extra base hits. And the go-ahead run is in scoring position with the league's leading RBI man coming up.
Hosmer hitting .385 since the All-Star break, is staying hot. That ball's in the middle of the plate, and he waited, put his same home run swing on it, but he just waited until the ball got deeper towards the catcher's glove and just sliced it down that left field line with authority.
Royals have only 4 hits in 5 2/3 innings, but they're all extra bases. Cain doubled in the 1st. Hosmer homered in the 4th. Morales doubled in the 4th, and now Hosmer's double in the 6th. And here's Morales. He's had 2 good swings against Morton. So Morton starts him off with a curveball down and out of the strike zone.
But what I was saying about the hits is that Lorenzo's double was a good sinker down, and he was able to lift it. Those other pitches were mistakes, and they were up in the zone, and they were been able to hit. But you know, in order to handle that sinker baller and to keep it off the ground, you've got to go down and get that and lift it.
1-1 to Morales. Is that chewing gum with confidence?
I'll say whatever he does, he does it with confidence. Now, we see him with batting gloves sometimes, and sometimes we don't. It all depends on the feel that day.
3 consecutive curveballs, 2 out of the strike zone, 1 in the strike zone.
I would expect Morton's going to be very careful here with Morales with his 65 RBIs at the plate.
Might even get him another one.
In the dirt, Morales will run. Stewart throws him out, and that's the inning. Eric Hosmer with his 2nd extra base hit of the night is stranded at second base, and we're tied at 1 at the end of 6. Orioles baseball is brought to you by AT U-verse high-speed internet. The U-verse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. By your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. Another well-pitched game. Both Edinson Volquez and Charlie Morton have allowed 1 run in 6 innings. They both have thrown exactly 78 pitches. So they're in good shape in that regard. Volquez will get the lower third of the Pirates' order in the 7th inning. And Stewart chops it foul. Chris Stewart is 0 for 2 tonight. Volquez has given up 2 more hits. He has struck out 4 more than Morton. And he's set down 9 of the last 10 Pirates hitters. In on his hands. Moustakas backhands. Guns it across the diamond. 1 down. The Royals don't seem to be, unless we have a long game, requiring as much help from the bullpen tonight as they did last night. Our most trusted players, brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda.
Yeah, 7 2/3 innings of work, only 1 run from that bullpen last night. I thought Joe Bland's effort in the 2nd was a key to the game, but the guys that followed just came in and were dominant throughout. Huge pitch here, Wade Davis against Andrew McCutchen to end that 7th inning or 8th inning, and then Greg Holland went through a little bit of a bump in the road, but was able to finish things off in the 9th. Nice to see his 21st save.
Decker right to Dyson, who takes a couple of steps toward left center. 2 down. It's probably just to keep the muscles loose. That is not stretching to come into the game, that's for sure. After going 3 2/3 last night. With Coach a little different situation. You could see him tonight.
Monty, all those bullpen guys, I noticed from up here watching, they all have different routines and how they get ready.
Yeah, I think that's become a creature of habit when you're on the bullpen, because you kind of know when your innings are, so you kind of get mentally ready, but also a little physical preparation goes along. Everybody has their own routine they have to do, and you know, I know when I had my routine, it started in the afternoon with a run, then it just would kind of go, and as a game would unfold, you know, usually in the 6th or 7th inning, if it's going to be a night that you have to get that physical preparation to go along with the mental.
What inning did you actually go out to the bullpen?
I was there before first pitch every game.
You're in the bullpen the whole game?
Yes.
That's very impressive.
That's different from a lot of pitchers today.
Closers especially.
Now I have firsthand proof that you may have been in the bullpen for the first pitch, but you weren't in the bullpen the entire game.
I would always go up to the clubhouse in the 3rd or 4th inning and just take a little breather, get ready for the second half of the game.
I remember you coming into a TV control room in the middle of the game in another city.
Certain ballparks, like in Minnesota, where there's a TV controls room, I'd stop in and maybe look some highlights and see what's going on. I love that.
Let's go.
Edinson Volquez has set down 12 of the last 13. He has struck out 8.
Monty?
1 shy of his career, or season high.
Gotta like it. Disappearing.
Steady Eddie.
takes us around the league. Detroit right now on top of Seattle. St. Louis, they're in Chicago, and then they will meet the Royals at Busch Stadium tomorrow. Houston will be here this weekend, and also should mention that Minnesota and LA just about underway. Our Mazda game break takes us to Detroit. Nick Castellanos with the grand slam, biggest inning of the year for the struggling Tigers. They're one game under 500 right now, and they scored 8 in that third inning. Try to even it up to 47-47 on the year. Ryan?
All right, Joel. Salvador Perez, Omar Infante, and Alex Rios in the bottom of the 7th against Morton. 2-0 on Sal. He is 0 for 2. I don't want to take anything away from Charlie Morton, but if you were just walking into the stadium now and you see the score and you go, hey, wow, this guy's held the Royals to 1 run, 4 hits. I mean, he has pitched well. There have been a lot of loud, long outs. He has not walked anybody. He has hit a couple of batters. But this is not similar to what Garrett Cole was doing to the Royals last night. They just feel like they are right on the edge of a big inning, and there's a good start. Salvador Perez, and we told you how good he can be leading off an inning. That is just his 6th walk of the year and Morton's 1st of the night.
It's almost hard to walk Salvi.
It is hard to walk Salvi. To Ryan's point on him pitching to contact, this ballpark, I think players come in here and they look at this ballpark, and as a pitcher, why wouldn't you? I mean, you have all this space out there. Make him put in play.
'83 pitches for Morton. 85 for Volquez.
I tell you, Morton's arm angle, it's very difficult for hitters to pick that ball. And he's throwing all of his pitches almost sidearm. And that curveball, he's able to get on top of it and get some downward bite with that.
Good bunt. Ishikawa. Excellent play. That was not an automatic out at second base. That was an aggressive play by Ishikawa.
That's a shocker right there. He knew that. That's what you call knowing the speed of the runner. Infante, a nice bunt, maybe a little too hard. Not expecting Ishikawa to come up and fire to second base. But this is heads up. Charges it and convicted to get that out. All the way he was looking for it.
Huge advantage for the first baseman to be left-handed too, to make that play.
It was not a bad bunt at all. I bet if you went and asked Infante right now, did you put that bunt right where he wanted to? He'd probably say yes. So 1 on, 1 out to Rios. He has grounded out twice. And both of his ground balls to the right side. He tried to pull that pitch.
Outfield deep, especially in left field. Decker, he's really deep for Infante.
And set up inside. Infante runs. Hit and run. Infante will keep running. And here we go again. Late innings. Infante and Rios setting up Dyson.
Oh, that was executed beautifully. Rios got him a pitch down. Good idea, sinker ball pitcher, to move those runners. And there it was, right over the middle of the plate. And Rios is saying, thank you. That's the perfect ball and the right approach. Staying inside and looking up that middle. Inside with your swing. Got a little action. That's going to bring everybody together in that infield.
I remember last night when Dyson came up with the runner on third. They had a meeting very similar to this, and I think it may have been to talk about what are we going to do if he does drop down a bunt? How are we going to handle this? So we'll see how it plays out tonight.
Ray Searage, pitching coach, out to chat about that. And everybody joins him on the mound. Last night, 2nd and 3rd and 1 out with the infield in against Cole. He said he was looking for a pitch up to get to the outfield, and that's exactly what he got.
Talk about a clutch hit. That's one of Dyson's best. Off of that pitcher there, one of the best in the National League for sure.
And before Dyson bats, we promised you earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Thank you, Gary. Tweet yours to hashtag #KCDataStrong for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Infield in again. Dyson bunts. Here comes Infante to the plate. Safe. The Pirates will look at this, and the question will be, if Infante did not get to the plate, did Stewart legally block it with his foot with the new rules?
And not really sure. We'll have to look at it again. If Infante did get his foot on the plate, that's why Stewart went back to tag him. Must have caught the back end of it. And see, Stewart, he wasn't sure either if he touched it, so he went back and tagged. Ishikawa had a hard time getting it out of his glove at first, but a nice play on the back end there. Good try.
I think they're going to take a look at this, and his front foot didn't appear to hit home plate. I'm not sure if his back foot did, but if Stewart's leg got in the way of Infante, was that a legal block of home plate? Did Stewart give Infante a lane to slide to?
Good call. We'll have to see. Now, it was not a squeeze bunt. He wasn't leaving when the ball left the pitcher's hand. See that back leg? Just catches the end of the plate. Good slide. Dyson with some nice touch, and that's a great idea for him. Sinker baller, ball's going down. He's a good guy to bunt.
So the challenge for the umpire in New York, from a Pirates point of view, he has to prove with clear and convincing evidence that neither one of Infante's feet slid across home plate.
I think if you're the Pirates, you have to make this challenge at this stage of the game, but I think the Royals have a fairly good chance of this holding up.
Able to keep that back leg on the corner of the plate, back end of it.
A leadoff walk to Salvador Perez, and that's Morton's only walk. Infante tried to put down a sacrifice. Ishikawa made an excellent play to force out Perez, and then on a hit and run, he is safe. A hit and run got Infante to third. Dyson got him home. The call is confirmed.
The Royals, they pound the runs home in the later innings. This is their time of the game. The run differential is amazing. Plus 49 runs more than their opponents. They're 43. Astros just ahead of them.
It's a fielder's choice for Dyson. They also put a hit up on the scoreboard. Strike to Alcides Escobar, so two different messages. Both a hit and a fielder's choice, but They are going to call that a base hit. So Dyson gets a base hit and an RBI, and the inning isn't over. 2 on, 1 out. Escobar out in front. No balls, 2 strikes. So again, 2 nights in a row with 1 out. It's Infante, Rios, and Dyson.
Let's stay with it. They're hot.
And remember, Escobar was part of that inning last night. He drove in a run with a base hit. One and 2.
This Stewart, man, he come up out of there. He knows that running game is an essential part of the Royals' weapon. Anything in the dirt, they're advancing, and he came up out of there saying, "You're not going to advance on me." Knew that curveball was coming. Now we've seen Morton throw 3 and sometimes 4 curves in a row to certain hitters tonight.
Two down. That is the 4th strikeout for Charlie Morton. Royals making more memories for the fan base here tonight. And remember the Royals Memories program, where you can choose between a variety of on the field opportunities, such as playing catch in the outfield or taking in summer fireworks on the field. And there are others. All experiences are available for purchase each game exclusively through the MLB.com Ballpark app. Rios at second, Dyson at first, 2 down. Mike Moustakas is 0 for 3 against Morton tonight. That is not a swing.
It's, 3rd time around, 4th time around, more curveballs. I mean, like, that's his primary pitch now.
Yeah, he's going to that pitch a lot in big situations. We saw him go to it for the strikeout against Morales last time Morales was at the plate.
Have now outscored their opponents from the 7th inning on by 43 runs this year. 2-0 to Moustakas. 3-0. Canes on deck. What a sight here tonight. Kauffman Stadium jam-packed, a 3rd consecutive sellout for the Royals and the Pirates. I think Morton, I don't know, right before he went in his motion, may have thought to himself, I'll bet he's got the green light. I might want to reconsider where I'm going to put this pitch.
As a pitcher, you can never assume that they're going to be taking the pitch.
He did not take that one. He puts it in the Pirate bullpen. Mike Moustakas, it's a 3-run home run.
And the Jolly Roger is taking on water. Just like you said, Monty, you can't assume a guy's going to take 3-0, especially Moose, who gets in double digits on homers on July 22nd.
A 3-run 8th inning last night, a 4-run 7th inning tonight.
Oh, talk about a cookie. That was a cookie with 3 chocolate chips.
Sinker that didn't sink.
Only 3 chocolate chips? Royals baseball with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Royals all season wherever you are with the MLB.TV game of the day. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. The #1 app for live baseball. Antonio Bastardo misses to Lorenzo Cain. Bastardo pitched in game 1 on Monday and gave up 1 run in just 1/3 of an inning. Two and out to Cain. Lorenzo doubled back in the first inning. Big swing. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Bastardo 88 to 93 with his fastball. Slider. He'll cut his fastball as well and a few changeups.
Two and 2. Mike Moustakas gives the Royals 5 with at least 10 home runs. Eric Hosmer hit his 9th, so he's just 1 home run from joining that list. Bastardo gets Cain to end the inning. Gerard Dyson had a bunt RBI single that put the Royals in front, and then Mike Moustakas on a 3-0 pitch with 2 on.
The moose is loose here at the game.
tomorrow, and then the Astros are here over the weekend. And speaking of those Astros, our monster game break, Preston Tucker, what a night for him as he homers in the first inning and again in the fifth inning, his 7th and 8th of the year. Evan Gattis has also gone deep. Royals, they were swept by Houston late June, early July, so try to get back at the Astros over the weekend. Coming up on Boulevard Royals Live, we'll recap this one here from Ned Yost and get you ready for tomorrow's one-game matchup. A pair of veterans, Chris Young and John Lackey, as they make up that postponed game from earlier in the season. We'll have it right here on Fox Sports Kansas City. Then back home tomorrow night in time for the Astros over the weekend. Ryan?
Thank you, Joel. This will be the 4th time to the order for Edinson Volquez. Trying to give the Royals at least 8. Wade Davis is warming up just in case. And that was just pitch number 86 for Volquez. He has retired 10 of the last 13 Pirates hitters. He has pitched 8 innings this year once, and that was his Royals debut back on April the 9th.
Hasn't been just one pitch either. He's mixing all of his pitches in, and he's getting extraordinary depth to his changeup and his curveball, working really good, really well. 5-2 record here in his 11th start at the K with a 2.95. He likes pitching here at the K.
Infante to the hole. 1 down. Volquez in his first 12, he was an innings eater. He was averaging 6 1/3 innings per start. He went 6 or more innings 7 times, and then not as many innings over his last 7, averaging fewer than 6 innings, and only completed 6 innings twice. And now 2 outs away from going 8. He is the Royals team leader in starts, innings pitched, strikeouts, quality starts, and on his way to leading the team with 9 wins without some dramatic departure from what we've seen tonight.
That's why Monty calls him Steady Eddie. Very steady. Executing.
Out to Infante again. 2 down in the 8th inning.
Volquez has to really feel good about his outing, not necessarily who he's facing, but I guarantee you he's pretty tickled inside so far. Pitched with his team last year. Now, those early count outs have really helped him stay in the game this long. You know, he's pitching to contact, he's throwing strikes. The Pirates are an aggressive hitting team, a lot like the Royals, and he's taking advantage of it.
And he owes a lot to the Pirates for the year that he had, and in particular this man right here, Ray Searage, who is developing a kind of like a Dave Duncan type of a reputation, getting his hands on a veteran type pitcher, helping that pitcher with maybe a new approach. And there are 3 guys in the stadium that owe him quite a bit. A.J. Burnett, we saw him pitch in game 1. Francisco Liriano, who also pitches for the Pirates, and Edinson Volquez have taken their game to a higher and different level under his tutelage.
You're right. Had a chance to talk with Ray before game 1 of the series and talk to him about Edison being a good mentor and a leader for Giordano Ventura and others, and he said that Volquez did the same thing over there last year with the Pirates. Really good and working with the other pitchers. But you're right. Volquez has a lot of complimentary words to say from his former pitching coach.
Two and two on McCutchen.
He's been effective with both fastballs, the 2-seamer and the 4-seamer right there. He Tries to get him to swing and miss on it.
Left center field and down in front of Dyson. McCutchen is 1 for 4. He's got some quick hands, doesn't he?
Sure does. Really good bat speed. He waits on the ball as well as anybody I've seen. And then he just explodes with his short, quick wrists. Bat speed. Just wait till the ball gets right on him. Rarely see him off balance. And then last night when Wade Davis threw that cutter by him and it looked like he hesitated a little bit with his swing. That's a great compliment to Wade Davis's stuff. Make a guy like that look like that on a fastball.
Watch old, they're old now by today's standards, but old videos of like Hank Aaron just had those quick wrists. Alfonso Soriano, remember him? He had the same thing. And a guy they talk about a lot today with those kind of wrists, that kind of snapping action, Ryan Braun of the Milwaukee Brewers. Marte has a 3-hit game as he goes the other way. That puts the potential tying run on deck. And Ned Yost, with Wade Davis available, is going to go get Volquez, and now everybody gets out of their seats. Royals needed 7 2/3 from their bullpen tonight, and Volquez steps up. He goes 7 2/3.
Talking about stepping up, you better believe it. And the crowd here really appreciates him.
Chevy call to the bullpen. Andy Duffy in Chicago on Sunday, and now Edinson Volquez tonight, getting the game to the 8th inning, gets 2 outs in the 8th inning. Here are the sprint cuts of the game for the Pirates against Volquez.
Everybody knows Volquez has very good stuff, but tonight it might have been as crisp as I've seen all year. His breaking pitch was awesome, moving down, fooling hitters left and right. Ishikawa, and I'm telling you, the fact that he was using his defense was even more special. We've been seeing him do that. He's able to keep that ball down low when they do make contact, hit it at somebody, and induces his 11th ground ball double play. A standing O.
1 strikeout shy of his season high, only 1 walk, and that was the 1 run that scored against him. He is still responsible for the 2 runners. Wade Davis all year had come into the game in the middle of the inning once until last night, and he came in the middle of the inning, and now he does it in back-to-back games, and perhaps Ned Yost will need him for just one out, as he did last night. 1-1 on Jung Ho Gung. That ERA is so small you can hardly see it.
Yep, and let's hope it stays that way. He's been having a fantastic run over the last couple of seasons out of that bullpen. One of the best in the business.
2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, he variates his fastball. He's got a 4-seamer, and it'll reach 97. He cuts that ball anywhere from 90 to 93, 94 miles an hour. He'll cut it. It's an exceptional pitch moving down. And he's got the overhand yellow hammer.
Off the end of the bat. Wade Davis finishes off the 8th inning. Volquez appreciates that, and the Royals appreciate him. To the bottom of the 8th, the Royals lead 5-1. Game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
What a great idea for Dyson to get a bunt, base hit, and an RBI with perfect placement. Infante read it nicely. They replayed it. Safe. Yeah, that gave the Royals the lead, and Moose put the icing on the cake right there. That's a beautiful swing. 3-0. We got him a pitch up, and he drove it out. 3-run homer.
Pirates dip back into their bullpen. Deolis Guerra comes on for a 7th time this year. Boy, how big is this guy? Man.
6'5", 245. I got him. Yeah, good fastball to go with it. Yeah, 90 to 94 miles an hour. Change up, occasional curve.
Hosmer, Morales, and Perez in the bottom of the 8th. Pirates scored first. They got a sac fly in the 3rd inning. And then Hosmer tied it in the bottom of the 4th with an impressive home run to right field. 432 feet. And Guerra caught it. Throws to first just in case. 1 down.
Quick reaction, and I'm not sure Haas would have gotten a hit out of that because they had him played just right. pretty good flexibility for a guy his height, able to go down there and snag that on the line. Made that look easy.
Changeup for a strike. Kendry's doubled in the 4th inning. He's also flied to the warning track in right. He just missed a 3-run home run in the 1st inning. Oh, 0-2. It'll be Ryan Madsen to begin the top of the 9th inning with at least a 4-run lead. Still 0-2. Pirates think he's going to pull it on the ground to the right side. And he pokes it into shallow center field. He has a 2-hit game. Morales is on with 1 out.
That's just how you stay on a changeup. Didn't fool him that time. That ball stayed up just enough, but you could see him taking a little something off of that with the same fastball arm speed. He just reached out and laid it out there. That's a nice stroke. Good adjustment. Yes, kind of guided it out there.
That ball's hit hard to left field. Decker back. It's over his head. Morales will stop at 3rd. And Salvador Perez has a double. And the Royals are looking to add on in the 8th inning.
Oh, man, you can't square a ball up much better. He gets underneath that. That's way out of the yard, but he squared it up. 14th double on the season. Guessing fastball first pitch and got it right down the middle. He was on it. Morales on his horse. He wasn't sure at first, so he kind of slowed down a little bit before second base. Wasn't sure if Decker was going to be able to make the play.
Now the Pirates will bring the infield in for Omar Infante. For the 2nd straight night, the Royals had a big inning late. And in both innings, Infante scored the 1st run. Changeup is low. Ball 1. With the same pitch. The Royals from the 7th inning on this year have outscored their opponents by 46 runs. Plus 46. And Infante can add to that with Morales at 3rd and Perez at 2nd.
Infield in for him on backing up a little bit.
There's the fastball, 1-2. Still 1-2.
Yeah, the big fella, Gura, loves that changeup. He's a fastball changeup guy. Like I said earlier, occasional curveballs, but That's a command pitch. Obviously, he's been throwing that a long time. He has that kind of confidence in it to throw it any time.
And now to a breaking ball to strike him out. 2 down. And that brings up Rios. And since Alex Gordon's injury, and it was a big topic of discussion the next day, do the Royals make a move? Who fills the void in left field? Who's going to pick up the slack? And Alex Rios has been one of those players to do that. He's hitting just under 400 in the 11 games since Alex's injury.
That's what you look for, somebody, somewhere. It doesn't matter who it is, just got to pick up the slack. And Rios has been struggling for a good bit of time after his injury. He's able to get back in there, and now he's starting to heat up a little bit. That's good. Haas is picking up his slack. Dyson doing a good job out there in left field, along with Paulo Orlando.
No swing. Will Little is the first base umpire. Joel and Monty brought this up in the first inning. It was 1 year ago today that Raul Ibanez and the veterans had that players-only meeting in Chicago. The Royals won 22 of their next 27, and they have the best record in baseball since. And now 3-0 on Rios. That does not include the postseason, where the Royals went 11-4. Well, we've already seen one big hit on a 3-0 pitch. It's not the pitch Rios was looking for. 3-1.
3-0 change, any count, anytime. So if he threw it 3-0, you know he could throw it 3-1. Still got to look for the fastball and try to adjust.
And a breaking ball fills out the count. Rios was headed to first base.
So he hooked him, got the upper part of that strike zone on that one. He has command with changeup and that curve. Rios can almost look for that. Something off speed.
Into the Pirate dugout. Starts his grip with a changeup. And didn't look like he changed his grip. And it is a changeup to strike out Rios. So the Royals had runners at second and third with one out, but Guerra buckles down to get back-to-back strikeouts. Ryan Matson into the game with a 4-run lead, hoping to lead the Royals to a series victory. Of the Kansas City Royals. They may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre, Rex Hudler, Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery at beautiful Kauffman Stadium. Third consecutive sellout, and that gives the Royals 15 this year. Along with producer Joe Lavero, our director Steve Kurtenbach, and our associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, Dave Holtzman. The producer of Royals Live is Brian Shapiro, and we hope to be getting there shortly as Ryan Madsen will navigate through Ishikawa, Stewart, and Decker. After Joe Blanton went 3 2/3 innings last night, Ryan Madsen pitched the 6th inning, faced 3 and retired 3. 1-1 on Ishikawa.
Madsen's been extremely impressive wherever Ned has used him. Those numbers, not a whole lot going on lefties and righties. He's been very consistent. He's got a beautiful changeup, fastball combination, occasional sliders, and he'll mix in a cutter on his fastball. He's been gaining some confidence with that pitch.
Still 1-2 on Ishikawa. He drove in 4 on Monday, 1 last night as a pinch hitter, but quiet so far tonight, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Got him with the changeup. 1 down in the 9th.
This is another pitch that Madsen's been throwing since he's been just a young amateur player. He picked it up a long time ago, and of course it's a field pitch. And just like Gura of the Pirates, we just saw him execute his changeup and throw it whenever he wants to. Madsen is very similar. Changeup, when you command it the right way. Just Volquez had a good one going tonight. That's a tough pitch for a hitter for his timing, especially when you have a fastball like that.
96. Wow. Yikes. And go back to the end of spring training. Remember, the Royals had that difficult decision to make. Did they go with Madsen, the proven major leaguer coming off an injury? Escobar gets Stewart 2 down. Or do they go with Brian Flynn, the left-hander with very little major league experience, but had an excellent spring training? Came over from the Marlins in the Aaron Crow deal. In the end, Flynn had options. The Royals were afraid that somebody else would want Madsen, and now we know why.
Another great decision by management.
Big item tonight. There is only 1 hit that separates the 2 teams. The Royals have 9 hits. The Pirates have 8, but the Royals have 6 extra base hits among the 9. The Pirates have 1 extra base hit. Jeff Decker takes the strike. Eric Hosmer has 2 of those extra base hits, a home run and a double. Mike Moustakas has a home run that drove in 3 in a 4-run 7th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. 39,105 standing and chanting "Let's go Royals." The Royals are 1 out away from being 21 games above 500 for the first time since I graduated high school. Wow.
Beautiful thing. Look at the smiles on the Royals fans.
The Royals take the series. 2 nights in a row in a very well-pitched game. The Royals get a big rally late. Tonight, it was a 4-run 7th inning. Infante, Rios, Dyson right in the middle of it as they were last night, but that man right there put the game away. Mike Moustakas on a 3-0 pitch against Charlie Morton. Hit a 3-run home run into the right field bullpen. So the Royals are 21 games above 500. And at the moment, their lead in the Central Division is 7 games. That's a season high.
And you just love the performance and the consistency that Ned Yost is getting out of his players on the KCW. Offensively, the power showing, the timely hits, a little bit of steals, and some excellent bullpen, and some nice starting pitching we got tonight for Volquez.
Let's begin with Eric Hosmer's blast in the 4th inning.
A no-doubter. Starting pitcher Charlie Morton, he couldn't even look. He had to look the other way. He didn't want to see where it landed. Yeah, Duffy watched it. Moustakas at 3-0. This was impressive. You had just said, I wonder if he believes this Moose is going to get the green light. He had the green light and got it. Didn't miss it.
And for years, we waited on Moose and Haas to lead this team to the top of the division, and they were the leaders tonight. They're down on the field with Joel.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Yes, the 2 guys, the 2 lefties who went deep, Hosmer, Moose, and here comes Salvador slowly with the Gatorade bucket. Who wants it? Well, you guys have always been good friends. Now you've had the Gatorade bucket together. More importantly, how much fun is this to win in front of yet another sold-out crowd?
It's a blast. You know, that's a great team over there to take to drop the first one and come back and take the series. And you know, we want to protect our home field, and you know, we want to play well here, and we did a good job.
Moose, you don't see the Pirates obviously very much, but they seem to be a team that is very much like you. So how big was it to be able to take 2 of 3 against a team that you might see eventually in the World Series?
Oh, it's huge. You know, it's a great ball club over there, and to come back after losing the first game and you know, kind of defend home field, it's huge for us, especially in front of these fans. I mean, coming out, sold out crowd again tonight, and you know, we feel the electricity, and it's always fun to play in front of them.
Well, they got the Moose chance going. Both of you hit home runs, but before we get to that, Moose, I want to ask you about the bottom of the lineup there, 7, 8, and 9 for the 2nd night in a row, breaking a tie, and what that meant.
Oh, it's huge. You know, those guys have been playing so well for us, and you know, getting on base and Dice, you know, squeezing them in, it was huge for us. So you know, they've been contributing a lot, and that's a big part of why we're where we're at right now.
That home run, I guess it eventually landed 432 feet away. About what, 1 second till you knew it was gone?
Yeah, it's one of those right off the bat. It felt good, and knew I got all of it, and it felt good to have a swing like that, and you know, get the game back tied, and just hand it off to Little Dice and let him win it for us.
Little Dice wins it. Moose, you hit the insurance runs, but let's also talk about Edinson Volquez and what he was able to do tonight.
Oh, unbelievable. You know, he commanded all of his pitches well. You know, just kind of stayed in the zone, threw everything well, and you know, he just went out, worked quick, and kept the defense in the game. And when you got a guy throwing the ball like that, it's fun to play defense for him.
Good luck tomorrow night in St. Louis. We'll see you back here against Houston on Friday.
Sounds good.
Thank you, guys.
Mike Moustakas, Eric Hosmer, the 2 young superstars getting it done together. Ryan?
And for the 7th time this year doing it together, 7th time they have both homered in the same game. And the first time this year, they get the Salvi ice bucket at the same time. Woo. We'll be right back.